In a time where communication is a cornerstone of human interaction, we find ourselves in awe of some surprising discoveries about our very own human voice that you might not believe. Eons ago, around 530 million years in the past, it was a humble landlocked fish that spurred the evolution of our vocal cords. From inhaling oxygen to producing voices, that's quite a journey, isn't it? Now, if you've ever caught yourself bobbing your head to the rhythm of a beatboxer, you might be surprised to find out that our early ancestors may have been the first beatboxers. Yes. Our primates' cousins, the orangutans, can make two vocal sounds at once, much like a beatboxer can imitate different musical sounds. Scientists even got clever enough to recreate the voice of an ancient Egyptian mummy using 3D printing technology. Now, isn't that something? Imagine hearing history instead of merely seeing it. Then there's the animal kingdom. Did you know animals in South Africa's Kruger National Park are more terrified of human voices than the roar of a lion? And it's not just parrots that can mimic our speech, but also beluga whales, apes, elephants, and even orcas. Speaking of fascinating, our babies have the ability to hear and differentiate emotions in voices as early as 3 months old. And we all have done it, speaking to babies in a high-pitched, sing-song voice, which, surprisingly, is a universal behavior across cultures. Even ancient architectures have been influenced by the acoustic qualities of human voices. But hold on, there's an intriguing aspect that we haven't covered yet. It's about, but you'll hear about that soon enough. Let's not rush into things. What's up, my wonderful and ever-curious folks? Ready to dive into some fascinating mysteries together? I'm your host, Caesar, and joining me is the brilliant and insightful Sonia. Together, we're going to unravel the enigmatic world of curiosities in our daily episodes.
Hey there, everyone. Always thrilled to be here with Caesar Chagas and all of you.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our episodes. We're here every day at 10, 14, and 20 hours. So buckle up, and let's get started on today's journey into the heart of curiosity. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of the human voice, we discover a surprising connection to our aquatic ancestors. Yes, the fish. What if I told you that we owe our vocal cords to a specific fish that lived around 530 million years ago? This fish had a mutation that allowed it to draw oxygen from the air. Over time, this fish's offspring evolved into lungfish, having not just lungs but a valve that stopped water from entering their respiratory system.
That sounds incredible, but how did this valve become our vocal cords?
Great question. So, over thousands of years, this valve remained as humans evolved and it eventually became our vocal cords. When we push air up from our lungs, parts of this valve vibrate against each other, and that produces the sound of our voice.
Fascinating. But surely there's more to the evolution of our voices?
Indeed. Early human speech might have sounded like, guess what? Beatboxing.
Wait, really? Like, making drum and instrument sounds with our mouths?
Exactly. Observations of our great ape cousins, orangutans, have provided some insights. Male orangutans from Borneo can simultaneously make two different sounds, referred to as chomps and grumbles, especially in hostile situations. This simultaneous vocalization is similar to how a human beatboxer can imitate drums and an instrument at the same time. And it's not just limited to male orangutans in Borneo. Females in Sumatra, Indonesia, were observed making two different sounds simultaneously to warn others of predators.
So, our ability to make complex sounds might have its roots in our ancestral survival instincts.
Precisely. Our voices carry the echoes of our past, from the deep seas to the vast jungles. Moving on, did you know that it's possible to recreate the voice of someone who's been dead for thousands of years? A perfect example is the 3,000-year-old Egyptian priest, Nasiamun. Scientists were able to reconstruct his voice by using CT scans of his vocal tract and creating a 3D printed copy of it.
Wait, you're telling me we can actually hear the voice of a mummy?
Not exactly. It's more like a simulated sound based on the structure of his vocal tract. Due to the decomposition over thousands of years, a lot of factors like the original position of the vocal tract and the amount of remaining flesh can affect the accuracy of the reconstructed voice.
So, it's not like we could hear his actual voice, but we're getting close?
Exactly, we're getting closer to a point where we might be able to hear history rather than just see it in museums.
That's mind-blowing. What's next?
Well, in a surprising twist, researchers found that animals in South Africa's Kruger National Park are more scared of human voices than the sound of lions. Recordings of human voices speaking in local languages caused about 95% of the animals to flee.
Is there a reason why they would react this way?
It's thought that human presence has been so disruptive to wildlife that animals perceive us as bigger threats than their natural predators. This poses a challenge for wildlife tourism, as tourists could inadvertently scare away the animals they've come to observe.
That's a paradox. We love to see animals in their natural habitats, but our presence might be causing them distress.
Yes, and there's evidence that this fear alone can shrink animal populations. So, it's crucial that we find ways to reduce their fear of humans. Interestingly, this finding could also be harnessed in a positive way to protect vulnerable species from poaching and hunting. Moving on, did you know that several animals can imitate human speech? It's not just parrots or birds. In fact, a beluga whale named Inosi, Rocky the ape from the Indianapolis Zoo, and an elephant named Koshik, among others, have all demonstrated their ability to mimic human sounds.
So, it's like they're communicating with us in our own language?
Well, they can certainly mimic the sounds, but there's no evidence that they understand what they're saying. For example, an orca in France named Waiki was able to repeat simple words like hello, Amy, 1, 2, and bye-bye on command. But again, this doesn't mean Waiki understood what those words meant.
That's fascinating. Anything else?
Yes, there's more. Studies show that even babies can hear and differentiate emotions in sounds at just 3 months old. Researchers were able to prove that when babies hear a human voice, the same brain area, called the temporal cortex, is activated as in adults. This area is involved in many of our advanced skills, including language processing.
Incredible. So, they can sense if someone is happy or sad just by the sound of their voice?
Exactly. The baby's brains could tell the difference between sad and happy sounds, with sad ones provoking a strong reaction from the limbic region of their brains. This understanding of when we learn to hear emotion could help researchers gain insights into conditions like autism.
This exploration of how we interact with our world through our voices is truly enlightening.
It is, isn't it? And to round off this segment, we should note that this instinct to communicate effectively even extends to how we talk to babies. Most people across cultures naturally adopt a happy, high-pitched, sing-songy tone when speaking to infants. It's a universal phenomenon. Did you know that the way we instinctively speak to babies, which is known as infant-directed speech or IDS, helps them learn their language? It emphasizes vowel sounds, making it easier for them to distinguish between words, and it also expresses emotions more strongly.
It's fascinating how our natural instincts help us communicate more effectively with infants.
Indeed, and the connection between babies and voices goes even deeper. From the moment they are born, babies display a preference for their mother's voice and language because they've heard it while in the womb.
So, our voices not only help us express ourselves, but also form the very first bond between a mother and her child.
That's correct. And speaking of remarkable ways our voices influence the world around us, would you believe me if I told you that the premium quality of Stradivarius violins is because they mimic the human voice?
You mean the $1 million violins? How do they mimic our voices?
The tones produced by Stradivarius violins are similar to those made in the vocal tracts of high-pitched singers. These violins were made to accompany singers, and their ability to mimic singing voices allowed them to blend into the music more smoothly.
So our voices have even inspired the creation of timeless musical instruments. It's clear that voices have profound influences in unexpected ways.
Absolutely. And the influence doesn't stop there. For thousands of years, architects have designed buildings to amplify, carry, and change people's voices. A prime example is the ancient Mayan city of Palenque.
It's amazing how our voices have shaped so many aspects of our life, from our interactions with infants to the creation of musical instruments and even architecture.
Our voices don't just influence our interactions and the way we make music, they have also played a significant role in architecture. Ancient cities like Palenque designed public squares and temples that amplified the human voice phenomenally. And it's not just the Mayans. An underground maze in Peru, dating back 3,000 years, could alter and echo voices from all directions, possibly designed to disorient those within it.
Sounds like a disconcerting experience.
Yes, it could be. On a different note, the Hal Saflieni Hypogeum, a 5,000-year-old underground temple in Malta, enhances the spiritual experience with its unique acoustics. A person's voice can sound like multiple voices in unison when hitting a frequency of 110 Hz in a particular room.
So, certain spaces can literally amplify our voices and experiences. That's quite a thought.
Absolutely. Finally, did you know that, in theory, human voices can shatter glass?
Really? That's straight out of the cartoons.
It is. But it's not as simple as singing at a high pitch. To break the glass, a person must sing at a pitch that matches the glass's natural resonant frequency. If the vibrations are strong enough, the glass can shatter. The trick, though, is to be loud enough, and most people simply can't achieve this. A singer on the TV show Mythbusters, for example, managed to break only 1 out of 12 glasses he tried to shatter, and he was almost as loud as a jackhammer.
That's both fascinating and slightly terrifying. Just imagine the power of our voices.
From the evolutionary origins of our vocal cords in fish, to the surprising ability of animals to mimic human speech, the power of our voices to influence architecture and even shatter glass, we've explored some truly fascinating facts about the human voice. And who would have thought that we can scare off wildlife more than roaring lions, and that our ancestors may have communicated using beatbox-like sounds?
It's truly been an eye-opening journey into the world of voices. And we didn't just stop at humans, we delved into the animal kingdom, explored ancient architecture, and even touched on how our voices resonate with violins.
And if you're ever feeling a bit down, just remember, you potentially have the power to shatter glass with your voice, though I wouldn't recommend trying it at home.
Haha, exactly. Thank you all for joining us on this fascinating exploration. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't just hit that like button, smash it. Drop us a comment and let us know what you found most interesting, and share this episode with your friends. We're all about revealing mysteries here on Curiosity Wonderland, and we couldn't do it without you.
We appreciate you tuning in and, as always, we'll be back with more intriguing facts and revelations. Until next time, stay curious.
Goodbye, everyone. Stay safe and keep exploring.
We've sourced these fascinating facts from an article titled 10 Very Strange Facts You Didn't Know About Human Voices, written by Kieran Torbuck, published on Listverse on October 23, 2023. You can check out the full article for more details, the link is in the video description. Alright, folks, that's it from us, until next time.